Hello everybody, welcome back. Tropical Update 21 on now Category 1 Hurricane Elsa. National Hurricane Center going to have another update out 30 minutes from now, but not much will change hurricane warnings now in effect for parts of Florida. Apologize for the background noise, but Elsa looking much better on satellite and radar, still clearly sheared. We see that south side of the cyclone not very well developed of all, but something that looks reminiscent, at least somewhat, of an eye off the coast of Tampa Bay right now. Fort Myers at the moment, making its way towards Tampa, where hurricane warnings are in effect from the Steinhatchee River to Egmont Key. Tropical storm warnings from dry Tortugas in the Florida Keys. That's the only area in the Florida Keys that remains in tropical storm warning at this time. Flamingo, Florida, northward to Egmont Key, and then the Steinhatchee over Ochlockonee River, also under tropical storm warnings. We also now have a tropical storm warning from the mouth of St. Mary's River, that's on the Florida-Georgia border, northward to the Altamaha Sound in Georgia as well. Tropical storm watches remain in effect from the Altamaha Sound northward to the South Santee River in South Carolina. As we can see on radar imagery, once again, something that looks like an eye and probably is technically an eye does exist with Elsa at this point, just clearly much more rainy and strong on the north and east side of the storm as it tends to be. Have a hurricane hunter in there right now as we speak. We can see it flying around. Some hurricane force winds still being found in Elsa, so that is notable. Mostly close to the coastline, up once again in that northeastern quadrant of the storm as it stands right now. Elsa expected to retain hurricane status up until landfall. We see the most likely time of arrival for those tropical storm force winds remaining much the same. As I said, Wednesday morning for most of the Florida Peninsula. That'll continue. Most of the United States will experience tropical storm force winds for us, will experience them by the end of the day on Thursday. There's another look at your watches and warnings currently in effect on the coastlines. Remember, watches and warnings remain in effect for many of the inland areas in Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina as well. Rainfall is, of course, a big concern. 3 to 6 inches isolated, 9 for the Florida Keys and the west coast of Florida, southeastern Georgia and coastal South Carolina, as well as other spots in the Keys and the west coast of Florida, looking at 3 to 5 isolated to 8. You're going to see a little bit less than that for the rest of Florida, and perhaps even less, but still a notable amount for coastal South Carolina and southeastern Virginia. Tornadoes remain a concern, although I don't think any have been confirmed today. A couple tornado warnings have been issued. Tornado watch expires in 30 minutes, but nothing too crazy has actually produced from Elsa that I have heard of. Maybe a few funnels, but I haven't heard of anything big hitting the ground in the Florida Peninsula. Nonetheless, tornado threats remain the case for much of the United States Southeast and then the East Coast into tomorrow and on Thursday. Storm surge also a threat with these tropical cyclones, 3 to 5 feet storm surge warnings from Englewood, Florida, all the way to Bonita Beach on the south side. And that's 2 to 4 feet on a storm surge warning, and then 3 to 5 feet from Englewood up to the Lucia River. That's 3 to 5 feet on a storm surge warning. Now, storm surge watch in effect for a little bit of the Panhandle as well. Potentially 2 to 4 feet there, and then maybe a little bit of storm surge for other places throughout the Florida Peninsula, as well as the Georgia and South Carolina coast. Intensity guidance for Elsa keeps it, again, potentially just over or under hurricane strength. It really doesn't matter by the time it makes landfall. We're going to take it to a weak tropical storm or depression over land, perhaps re-strengthen a little bit once it exits North Carolina. Then after that point, it's going to become non-tropical once again. So not much to be concerned about. I'm not going to show you guys the spaghetti models because at this point, the landfall point in general direction is pretty clear, set, and well-defined. We can see, once again, the cone, current watches, and warnings on the graphic there. We'll have another update probably around this time maybe a bit earlier, maybe a bit later. Tomorrow night, there will be no update tomorrow morning, but do note that by the time we get to tomorrow morning, Elsa will be making its way very, very close to landfall, so those in northwestern Florida should be prepared for that. Now, future updates will be issued as needed after tomorrow night, but we'll talk about that once we know a little bit more about Elsa's future. That's all for now. Chris 6 and 4 Catholic Media.